Chairman, thank you. I do want to join my colleagues in expressing extreme concern with the nomination of Professor Omarova to head the Office of Comptroller of the Currency. Professor's extreme views on energy, her desire to nationalize retail banking, to place government officials on private company boards, have the government set price controls on food, gas, and other everyday goods, and her hostility toward innovation in the digital currency space are just a few of the reasons that Montanans and the Americans should be very concerned about this radical nomination. What is said in the past, what is said in academic writings, what we say publicly matters. And you can't run away, a nominee can't run away from what they've said in the past, whether it's an academic setting or not. Each one of us here has run for public office. What we've said in the past, what we've written in the past matters. And that's what we use as a basis to determine if someone is qualified or not to serve in these very important capacities. In March of 2021 seminar, just 8 months ago, Professor Omarova stated with regard to oil, gas, and coal companies that, quote, "We want them to go bankrupt if we want to tackle climate change," end quote. That's very clear. In May of this year, Professor Omarova went further and called for debanking these industries, stating that, quote, "The way we basically get rid of these carbon financiers is we starve them of their source of capital," end quote. These are chilling statements and beliefs, and I believe they are disqualifying for someone seeking to hold such a powerful office. The fact that President Biden would even make such a nomination further solidifies how radically liberal and out of touch the mainstream views of the White House are. Professor Omarova, in a 2017 paper entitled "Bank Governance and Systemic Stability, the Golden Share Approach," you advocated for a fundamental structural reconfiguration of bank governance by giving the federal government a seat on the board of each systemically important banking organization. You specifically proposed that government, and I quote you, take partial ownership stakes in firms in order to exercise voice in the deliberations and ultimately issue in firms' decisions, end quote. You also proposed giving the federal government power to manage financial institutions directly if certain conditions are met by, and I quote, "grant direct but conditional management rights to a designated government representative on the board of each affected institution." Professor, I lived in China for 6 years, working for Procter & Gamble. I've seen the effects of when big government, when communist governments try to take over the private sector. Placing government officials on boards of banks to propose that is chilling. Do you still believe that the government should have seats on the boards of private companies?
Senator, thank you for bringing up this particular paper and allowing me to clarify that comment. So the idea of a golden share did not come from China or from the Soviet Union. In fact, to me, it came from reading about Margaret Thatcher's government, their decision to introduce the golden share mechanism with respect to the newly privatized in the 1980s strategically important companies. This is where I drew my inspiration for the idea, just kind of to push the envelope a little bit of thinking about if we can introduce a very contingent and very limited ability for the public voice in the in the governance of systemically important financial institutions only under situations when the financial stability, systemic stability, and national security are threatened.
So I just want to be clear, okay, but you do still, and you put conditions to it, but you still believe that the government should, in some situations, have seats on the boards of corporations.
Yeah, I'm with Margaret Thatcher on this one.
I can't speak for Margaret Thatcher here this morning, but I got to believe if Margaret Thatcher had a vote on your nomination, she would be opposed to it. Returning to your comments earlier this year saying you want oil and gas companies to go bankrupt. In that statement, you specifically said you hope that small oil, gas, and coal companies go bankrupt. Your exact words were, quote, "a lot of the smaller players in the industry are going to probably go bankrupt in short order. At least we want them to go bankrupt if we want to tackle climate change." Professor, do you believe that is the role of the federal government to specifically target small family-owned businesses in an attempt to bankrupt them, destroying their livelihoods and the communities that they support.
Senator, once again, like I said before, what I was actually saying in that comment was the opposite, that we need to find new ways of helping small energy companies get through the hard times so that their workers do not lose their jobs. That hurts local economies. I completely agree
Wait a minute, you
with
said at least we want them to go bankrupt if we want to tackle climate change.
So that one sentence I already said, I'm sorry that I misspoke. It was not a well-phrased sentence, but the meaning, and I insist on that.
I think the meaning is pretty
different.
clear. Mr. Chairman, let me just close, if I might. The dominant theme of your career has been promoting very radical socialist ideas. The position you have been nominated for would put you in a position to implement some of these ideas. The thought of that is chilling, and this committee, in my opinion, should unanimously reject your nomination.